Welcome to a noob's guide to Kairos Fateweaver. This is Kairos, Oracle of Tzeentch, a twin-headed master of foul magic who air fries his enemies in psychedelic hellfire. One of his heads can see the future, while the other knows all the past, but viewing the entirety of space-time has left Kairos one drumstick short of an 8-piece bucket. In this video, we'll talk about Kairos' lore, how this translates to gameplay in Total War Warhammer 3, and cover his intended playstyle. We've almost hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel, so if you enjoy this Noob's Guide series and could help reach that silver button by subbing, I'd certainly appreciate it. Kairos is a being of pure magic, created to serve the chaos god Tzeentch. These Lords of Change look and act exactly like the Skeksis from Dark Crystal. But even among them, Kairos is one jive-ass space turkey, a being of near infinite magical power who shapes the winds of fate and influences even the remotest plot lines. He's got schemes on schemes and more convoluted plans than Light Yagami. Even before he was a double bird-brained know-it-all, Kairos was the best cock on the block. If there was a magical artifact that needed recovering or a fate that needed sealing, it was Kairos that was called out of Tzeentch's coop for the action. Like that time he was sent to stop an Arion creating the Great Vortex. It's just too bad the feathered hen of Tzeentch counted as chickens before they hatched. Luckily for demons, death just means rematerializing back in the Chaos realms, but Kairos still milked it to kiss up to Tzeentch's many-tentacled and ever-changing backside. He was named Grand Vizier for his trouble and was tasked with advising Tzeentch on all matters from the immaterial to the mundane. Not that Tzeentch listened.
My Lord, but sir,
Every divine pantheon has that one schemer god who uses lies, deceit, and outright manipulation of his own followers to steer the course of fate to his own benefit, and that's Tzeentch. He's also the world's biggest trivia nerd. Hoarding knowledge is such an obsession for Tzeentch, it's a currency for his factions in-game, and trade them for advanced technologies and strategic dickery. Use them to transfer ownership of settlements, force wars, spark rebellions, and generally ensure that no one will ever play a multiplayer campaign with you again. You gain grimoires through battles, buildings, and dilemmas. They're just like regular books of forbidden knowledge, except darker and more gothic, and if you run your finger along it, the paper will cut itself. But even with these extra grimoires, Tzeentch still doesn't know it all, and he can't stand that. At the center of reality sits the Well of Eternity, where everything that will or has happened can be seen. But even a god with birds for brains knows better than to muck about with it. Tzeentch wasn't about to risk his own turkey neck just for knowledge. He had servants for that. Lords of Change may be unbelievably powerful demon sorcerers, but every time Tzeentch scored an astromantic ski ball, they never came back out of the well. In frustration, he summoned Kairos the Fateweaver for advice, and then put some backspin on him when he threw him in. Tzeentch stopped after that, as even he knew a bird in the hand was worth two in the well. Meanwhile, Kairos went on a journey through time and space, seeing visions of scat demons, horny yetis, and old Greg's mangina. After years uncounted, Kairos clawed his way back out a changed bird, withered and hunched, but wizened beyond his years. Also, he had two heads now, which turned his life into a never-ending episode of Cat Dog. But he did know all the mysteries of reality now, so that was keen. Kairos' right head could see all possible futures, letting him view every fated outcome without an Infinity Stone. In-game, this means Kairos always knows where and when enemies will reinforce from. All his heroes are more likely to succeed in their actions, and enemy agents nearly always fail in their plans against him. And don't even try to ambush this guy. Kairos' left head views all of history without bias or coloration, which, I mean, that's sort of useful, I guess, but I mean, it also has left him a bit stuck in the past.
That's a joke, boy. You missed it. Went right past you. You gotta keep on your toes.
Foresight and hindsight are useful, but it left him a bit blind to the present. So if you think really hard about doing something else, you can still kick him right in his chicken tenders. Kairos became the Oracle of Tzeentch and keeper of the Destiny Scrolls, but everyone just calls him the Mocking Watcher, because all the double Birdman does is stir the Stygian depths of the Well of Eternity and then point and laugh at someone.
Cobble, cobble!
9 times 9 Lords of Change, also called 81, write down Kairos' never-ending rambles, hoping to glean something useful from them. Each scribe jealously guards anything they hear, as information is worth more than gold in Tzeentch's court. They even use their own feathers as quills and Tzeentch's blood as ink just to keep it secret, and also because he's been at it a while and office supplies are expensive. Kairos does still get out occasionally, guided by reasons only he can fully grasp, like that time he crossed the road and no one knew why, or that time he tried to steal 12 enchanted artifacts used by the companions of Gilles le Breton. Bretonians call that misadventure the Year of Woe, when Tzeentch's armies roamed about the countryside, melting their castle walls and tentacling anything they found inside. The secret to Kairos' success? Barrages and barriers. Every demon in Tzeentch's army is protected by a magical warp bubble that must be burst before you can deal any lasting damage. If it weakens or pops, all Kairos has to do is pull that unit back until its barrier recharges, and that's a big if it pops in Kairos' case, as his unique Lord skills give extra barrier and ward save to both him and all his units in battle, letting their barriers recharge sooner and faster, because no one can strut his stuff quite like a temporally analogous space flamingo. This gives Kairos ranged, magical, and air superiority, letting him cycle charge to his heart's content and skirmish down anyone too slow to catch him. So it's no wonder Bretonia in particular had a tough time of it. In the end, only King Lewin Leoncoeur dared to try and stop Kairos, planting his army in the cursed city of Mousillon just to guard the last artifact and keep it out of Kairos' talons. Not that it helped. It's too bad for Kairos that Mousillon was used as a breeding ground for some of Nurgle's favorite plagues, and he wasn't about to see them pasteurized by Tzeentch. So he sent Kugath Plaguefather down to grind him into foie gras. Kairos' body vanished back to Tzeentch's throne room, leaving the artifacts behind. And all the peasants of Bretonia rejoiced. Yay! You'd think you would have seen that coming. These brief moments of blindness between past and future are such a problem that Kairos' quest in Warhammer III is to hunt down the bear god Urson and eat his eyeballs to obtain divine omnipotence in the grossest way possible. Since the Bretonia debacle, Kairos has been Tzeentch's errand bird, dispensing convoluted prophecies and contradictory advice across the universe to anyone his master bids, because it wouldn't be Tzeentch if he just gave a straight answer. When Kairos leaves the impossible fortress, one of his heads speaks the truth, while the other one only tells lies. There's no particular reason for him to do it this way, he just finds it kind of funny. I'm sure it's coincidental this is from yet another Jim Henson film. When Kairos isn't dispensing questionable life hacks, our two-headed Big Bird here is still the most powerful spellcaster in Warhammer, starting each game with the awe-inspiring firepower of the lore of Tzeentch. But when time is an abstract concept, you can learn a few more tricks, and Kairos can unlock fragments from every lore of magic through his skill tree. Fancy a bit of mid-battle healing? How about a fireball or two? Maybe smacking someone with a broken spell from the lore of shadows. Kairos is ever-living proof that knowledge really is power. But the feather-bowed master of time and magic's real trick is using his lord skills to lower his own miscast chance, and making it so that every spellcaster added to his army increases the amount of damage Kairos' spells can do. You can use this to one-shot entire units in battle, so long as you put even a modicum of Kairos' foresight into your planning. With so many spells in his arsenal, you'll need to keep his magic topped off, as it is a finite resource that has to be stockpiled in Warhammer III. Winds of Magic manipulation lets you adjust your mana pool at will. Just move the winds to whatever region Kairos is in at the time and keep on blasting. You can only use one Lore of Magic fragment at a time though, and equipping one disables 2 spells from the Lore of Tzeentch, because Kairos may be a genius space turkey, but with all the knowledge of reality stuffed into him, there isn't space for any extra information. On the best of days, he has trouble keeping his probable futures straight, so Kairos created the Staff of Tomorrow to help with his demonic dementia, which is a stick with his Rolodex on it. In-game, the Staff of Tomorrow lets you field an extra cultist, spread corruption, and reduce the likelihood of him miscasting a spell. The staff even lets you reduce spell cooldown timers on command, which, let's be honest here, is the real reason that it matters. You'll unlock the quest battle for the Staff of Tomorrow tomorrow at level 10 and discover the most convoluted lore fluff ever written. While pondering the Well of Eternity one day, Kairos realized that his Staff of Tomorrow contains paradoxical information. Kairos' left head has seen every episode of Doctor Who and knows the staff's mere existence threatens the integrity of space-time. So the quest battle has Kairos kick the asses of both his past and future self, because Kairos knows Kairos is the problem, and Kairos isn't about to let Kairos get away with it. Don't see how fighting yourself would solve the problem? Well, then start thinking like a multi-dimensional, double-headed bird demon with a galaxy brain. Rain ruin with the best spells from the base lores of magic. Show people that being a changer of ways means using barriers and cycle charges to change enemy buttholes into deflated balloons. Because the Oracle of Tzeentch has come home to roost, and this has been a Noob's Guide to Kairos Fateweaver. Thanks for watching.